And today's episode of Bloody Mythical Ooze is about the golden age of piracy, or
Well,
pirates in general.
I guess pirates in general, but the
Yeah,
golden age of piracy
that was
is.
the fucking title, so roll with it.
We'll roll with it. Let's start rolling.
Start rolling away. So, piracy is
Mm,
the act of robbing, raiding, intercepting of ships on the high seas. The high seas is the open ocean, especially that part within which isn't within any country's jurisdiction. Like robbery, kidnapping, and murder all qualify as piratical activities. The term also comes from the Greek word pirates, which I found on the Britannica.com site, which has a lot of cool information on the matter.
Piratas sounds like Pilates, and I don't know what
Yeah,
Pilates is. What's that? Is that
Pilates
like
is
a?
like the kind of yoga,
It's like I was told
yoga
something similar.
something.
Yeah. So basically, Greeks were doing Pilates, and then they're like, "Let's do
Yeah.
it, but let's do it on the open seas." So we have Piratas.
Sounds like some bougie getaway kind of thing. Let's do Pilates on the
Yeah,
sea.
let's do Pilates on the sea. Does that even get like even worse than that? It's like let's do Pilates on the sea and fucking like drink cappuccinos
Yeah.
and
And pizza with
bleach
ananas on
bleach our
it.
anuses, might as well,
Yeah.
and all
Pineapple
that good stuff.
pizzas.
Dress like lumberjacks, stuff like that. So yeah,
Yes.
pirates.
Pirates. The topic of today.
Kata just explained everything. I'm done. This was it.
Yeah.
Pirates.
Yeah, my very bad pronunciation there.
Oh, it was perfect. It was perfect. I don't think the Greeks could say it better than you did.
Okay. Do your
That
thing
was a bad
next.
joke.
Yeah.
Pirates are basically were people that usually didn't have much of a choice. Like usually it was people that desired to be free of any authority, people that often wanted to find a job and couldn't do so in the civilized areas due to crimes they have committed, or just because those areas did not offer anything. Um, which is a very real thing. Like even today, piracy exists in the world in places where no other job opportunities can be found in some cases, which I think was your part later
Yeah.
on, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna
I
see
can I
discuss.
can tell about it now. Like basically
You
nowadays
can go for it,
piracy is
yeah.
still a thing. But mostly in countries with a weak government or a corrupt government,
Economy, government, all
where the
that.
economy is
Basically, the
shy.
countries. Mhm.
Basically nowadays piracy is mostly about like oil, stealing oil cargo or drug trafficking. And additionally, pirates in the Gulf of Guinea are especially noted for their violent modus operandi, which frequently involves kidnapping, torture, and shooting of crewmen. So, hey, have fun sailing the seas. For sure, if
Just
you're carrying oil.
just for people that don't know what modus operandi is basically what like the way they do stuff,
Yeah,
like
the way they work.
the
So,
way they
a lot
work.
of violence and killing innocent crewmen. So it
Um,
mostly happens nowadays in like corrupt states, but
Trump
besides
states,
that, there's
open
not
states.
much piracy except you mean like Pirate Bay and illegally downloading things.
I
Is that
guess
the
that works too.
2020 pirate?
I guess it's part of it's also being a pirate in some ways. It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing if you think about it. I don't even think about it, but like you were a pirate in a vast ocean where people could often not catch you, or not always catch you, so you could
Yeah.
run away to places. And today it's kind of the same thing. Get a fucking good enough VPN, get some fucking tinfoil, rub your whole house with it, and you're fine. Nobody's gonna catch you
Get some
unless it's
tinfoil and no one will catch you.
yeah,
I
nobody at
think
all.
it's not illegal in Belgium though to download things, so I'm fine.
I think the legality of it is the illegality of it is the upload like
Yeah, if you
downloading it and
upload
then
it,
and
then
then you
it's
like
an issue.
give it to other people and stuff like that. That's where it's still mucky, muddy waters, but whatever. But yeah. In my extensive research of this during sometime last week and my whole life as a nerd, which apparently there were always pirates everywhere. Like it doesn't matter even today. Like Kata mentioned, like if you existed, if there was water, if there were I don't know, doesn't matter which kind of people. You only really needed merchant vessels, and there would be pirates. Sometimes you might not even need that. I don't think the North Sea really had like I'm not 100% sure on this. I did not look into that, but now that I think of it, the North Sea, where it's like Vikings and stuff like that, they still have basically Vikings were kind of pirates in some ways,
Yeah,
but
in their own way.
they're like less pirate pirates, and they're like more let's just go grab lands kind of pirates. And the piracy we're going to talk about today is known as the Golden Age of piracy, and it's the period between the 1650s and the 1730s. So basically, in this specific area, the specific time, there was just like this was exactly the period that you guys kind of know of. Like when you think pirates, this is the thing, you know, Jack Sparrow, all that stuff, Blackbeard, all those people were present in this period, especially during the later stages of it, so 1700s, early 1700s. And the reason I chose this exact period is because it is basically synonymous with the term piracy. It gave birth to people like Blackbeard, Bonnie Ann, Calico Jack Rackham, Captain Kidd, which is I think Scottish in origin.
Hmm.
And some people told me he might have also been a woman that
Oh,
pretended to be
really?
a guy, which we will get to a little bit later. Again, I'm getting a vibe here that we're doing like we do these things and then like half of it is like either half or like a small part of it is like, and now to the part about how women did the same thing. It's like last time we had
Yeah.
a whole thing about how what's it called,
Jack the Ripper could have been a
Jack the Ripper
woman.
could
Could
have
have
been a
been Jill the
misanthrope
Ripper.
guy, Jill the Ripper,
That was
and
last podcast.
honestly, it doesn't bother me much since it's like a lot of info on that stuff, surprisingly, and I actually liked a couple of the things I found about it. Even though I never really intended to specifically do a thing about this, but it fits well. So we'll mention besides some Scottish people, some British people here. We'll mention some whammons from
Some
around the world.
women.
Some whammons.
So there are at least a few different types of pirates. There's a general pirates we all know and love, you know, the type that Jack Sparrow is based off of. And in no way were they horrible human beings that raped and
Nope.
pillaged and left kids without parents. And then there were the privateers that were like capitalist pirates, basically. They had a permit to be a pirate from the country. The most famous one being Francis Drake, which was given a permit for privateering from Elizabeth I, and apparently screwed up so many Spanish fleets and settlements that he became like the playboy millionaire from that time.
So he's basically like the Iron Man of the
Yeah.
seas, except he didn't have a costume. He had a ship at least.
He had a ship. That was his costume. I was like,
Yeah,
look,
that was
ladies, look at my big ship.
look at big ship.
Look at my big ship. I
That
can
big.
show you the world.
You just hear him say, "I can show you the world," and then like there's foreign music in the background, and like the ladies just start undressing, and the pirates just like like put the planks up ready.
Yeah.
Something I don't know.
That's cool.
But yeah, then you have like besides the privateers, you have corsairs, which some of you might have heard about. They were basically crusaders on water. That is what I decided to call them, crusaders on water, because they were the pirates of the Mediterranean. They're specific to this area, right? And they had religious connotations tied to them. So you ended up in having these because of the Ottoman and Christian battles that led to shit diplomacy, eventually basically piracy against each other when they knew they couldn't fight each other head on. Um, and the Barbary Coast corsairs are the Muslims of the North Coast, or the Muslims, or sorry, are the Muslims of the North Coast of Africa that just like fucking Christian settlements up and selling their gold and enslaving people. And the Christians had the same type of corsairs, but the most famous ones were the Maltese ones,
What did
that
they
are
do?
not related to the Maltesers, which they harassed Muslim commercial shipping in the 16th and 17th century, and were a huge pain in the ass. The Ottomans, who lost and won many battles against these pirates, but again, yeah, it was a big thing. Love Maltesers, right? Go tell them
I
that. Go
fucking
tell that to
love
the Maltesers
Maltesers.
of Malta. The dudes that were so hardcore that like fucking Ottomans had to bring in like hundreds of thousands, like almost 100,000 troops to like get them out of a little
Jesus.
fucking
That's a
even to,
lot.
I think if you go to Malta today, like you can still see how much of a like naval influence the. I know that you like Maltesers. That's why I called it like I said. Like it's a different thing.
I fucking love Maltesers.
Didn't they become a British colony? Everyone eventually becomes a British colony, rednecks. But yeah,
Everyone's
the
a
point.
Brit.
If you go there now, you can see how much of a like fleet-based country it was. Like it was all about it was the fleet was the breadwinner. Like they'd go out, probably come back in, and like the people would like have be spoiled in the spoils of piracy. And they were basically remnants of the Crusaders. So yeah, Crusaders in water. There you go. And and buccaneers. Besides corsairs, besides normal pirates, besides privateers, buccaneers is the last type. And to me, it's a funny word because the word buca in Romanian means
Mm-hmm.
butt cheek. So it makes
Yeah.
me feel like a 12-year-old that I am. And otherwise, the term comes from the French word boucan, which is a grill for smoking meat. So basically, um, it was first applied to French wild game hunters living in Western Hispaniola in the 17th century, which is basically 1600s. And the place for the non-geography history fans is the island, basically the island where Haiti, I think, and the Dominican Republic exist today. So the little island next to Cuba, right?
Okay.
Um, and that's the chunky island, right? The chunky little island, which also has Jamaica and Tortuga next to them, also big pirate havens. So now you know all these terms are basically just people not wanting to be called pirates, so they invented new terms to make themselves seem nicer. They were all Chad douchebags of the sea and had a great time, probably fucking a lot, drinking alcohol, and eating only meat and contracting and dying from all forms of STDs, getting
I
those
mean,
fancy diseases such as scurvy.
that
Mhm.
sounded fun until that last part about the
Right,
diseases.
I knew it would get you. I knew it would get you. But yeah, what do I know? I'm just jealous that I can't do the same. I'm just jealous that I can't get the same STDs and just eat meat all day to get like
Just
gout.
modern day pirates and get protection.
That's like imagine if people in the future is gonna be like, oh my god, the 21st century pirates are so cool. They're sitting on chairs all day and playing video games and pirating.
Downloading shit.
Downloading shit, illegal shit. No
Oh
way,
my
illegal
god,
shit.
dare they and didn't get caught.
They didn't go be sent to jail. What is that? But yeah, the golden age of piracy had 3 different stages. Do you want to read that one?
No, go ahead.
No, do you want to read that one? The next one, the first one, buccaneering
Okay.
period.
The
I'm not
first
sure.
one was the buccaneering period of the 1650s to the 1680s, and what was
So
unique
this
about
is
it,
like a small specific period. Like this is the
yeah,
first part of the like three
first part of
stages.
the 3 stages of the golden age of piracy. So the first one was from 1650 to 1680, and what was unique about it was that the French and the English both equally hated the Spanish, so they just settled into
Obviously.
places like Jamaica and Tortuga, which by the way got its name from Columbus, who thought it looked like a turtle's shell when he passed by it.
Yep.
So those two just screwed with the Spanish, and that was all it was about. It was like a piracy before piracy. People kind of did piracy because they had enemies they would and had to attack. So why not take the spoils of war too? Like the most famous pirate of his era, as far as we found, was thanks to Belcart, was Daniel Montbars, or Montbars the Exterminator. And imagine what kind of crazy fuck you are if you get the name the Exterminator. And yeah, this guy was active during the 60s and the 70s, or the 17th century.
Speaking of Bell, motherfuckers just left us
Yeah.
just like at this whole thing about
How dare she?
how dare they? Bell is a boy.
How dare they? How dare Bellu?
Sorry, that was perfect. I wanted. I hope that would. I mean, maybe Bell is a girl. I don't fucking know. But yeah, imagine being called the Exterminator. Imagine how fucking hardcore you need to be to get that. Like,
I
Kata,
want people to call me the Exterminator.
what do you think you'd have to do to be called the Exterminator?
I mean, he probably killed a lot of fucking people, I would imagine.
Are you sure it's not just because he was like exterminating cockroaches and stuff?
Yeah, imagine if that
How
was
many of you
all
fuckers
behind
stopped
it.
writing? How many of you fuckers stopped writing a joke about how he was called Exterminator because he exterminated cockroaches? I fucked you over. There you go.
Yeah. No. I mean, it would be funny if that was all he did, but I imagine that's not all he did.
He just went on ships and exterminated cockroaches.
Imagine
So-
though.
He was a French guy. He was a French guy that exterminated cockroaches, and he was famous for it. Montbars the Exterminator. But yeah, the next part of the Age of Piracy was called the Pirate Round, which just sounds like like a Monopoly thing. It's the Pirate Round, guys. Like put your eye monocles on thingies. What's it called?
Those glasses.
No, the black things the pirates put on.
The eye patch.
How do I do a whole thing about pirates and I forget what
You
an
don't
eye
know
patch
what the
is
fucking
called?
eye patch is.
I mean, look, I forgot for a second. Okay, I'm just a human being, but
How dare you.
basically,
I
the
thought you
pirate
were
rounds.
AI.
It was the second stage, and it happened during the late 17th century, so like late 1670s, 1680s, stuff like that. They were mostly English pirates that would travel and commit acts of piracy around the Cape route, which is basically it was the route that saw ships travel from Iberia, which is like Spain, right? Spain, Portugal, that area to Cape Verde, which is the Western Bulge area of Africa. And as I'm the famed couch historian, I can call it that, and nobody can tell me otherwise, obviously. Then from there, they travel to the Cape of Good Hope, which is basically South Africa. From there, along the coast, exactly, like rounding the bulge. This is basically what they did. They just went around bulges, dude. They just like bulge after
Gotta
bulge
love
after
the
bulge.
bulges.
Gotta love the bulges, yeah. And they
Bulgy
traveled to
wulgy.
the Cape of Good Hope, which basically is South Africa. From there, along the coast to Eastern Africa. From there, they'd go do piratical and piracy acts. One of those. In and around the Indian Ocean, and it told, to an extent, like Indonesian archipelago. The place, the
Don't ask
Indonesian
me.
area. Words are hard sometimes. I need more coffee. So,
Hmm.
if you're tired of the Caribbean pirates, you just, go fuck around Africa, India, and such. The principal targets of the pirates were the Spanish. I guess it makes sense
Why
since
did
they never.
everyone always hate the Spanish?
Because they had a lot of shit. I'm just saying. Like, when the Spanish don't have shit, nobody hates them.
But when they have shit, everyone fucking
That's why
hates them.
everyone kind of hated the British, because they had a lot of shit. Now they hate them just because they're the last people to have had shit. So, they get the good shit.
The good shit, okay.
Yeah, so it all kind of ended when the pirates were just told, "Hey guys, you can go legally fuck the Spanish ships in the Caribbean again," because there was need for ships to fight the Spanish ships who were in wars against the British, the Dutch, Prussia, others in wars of the Spanish Succession, which is a historical thing. Go Google it. I don't know. Basically, there was big wars in Europe, and they needed more ships, so they're like, "Come back, we love you now."
Come
That's
back, we love
yeah.
you. Don't leave me. And
Um,
all
but
this,
yeah,
all this leads into the third phase of the golden age of piracy, the wars of the Spanish Succession. Long story short, the war ended. People that were soldiers now didn't have jobs and they tried to become pirates as well. Because, hey, they need to make a living, you know? Your boy needs some money.
pirates got a pirate.
Pirates got a pirates. So they tried to become pirates, and so they did. And it was this third phase that gave us all these famous pirates that you know, like Blackbeard, Sam Bellamy, Bartholomew Roberts, Calico Jack, Charles Vane, Mary Read, and many others. This was also kind of the end of the golden age of piracy. The base of operations for them during this period was often Nassau on the island of New Providence in the Bahamas, which, if you didn't know where that is, it's like the chain of islands where the tip of Florida ends and
Just
it's
the
above Cuba. Just the tip, boys. The Bermuda Triangle's corner, one of them at least, is supposed to sort of end there, and the base was established by Henry Jennings and Benjamin Hornigold.
because he was horny and he had gold. I guess that's
Is
why
that
his
how he
name is
got his
Horny Gold.
name?
No, no. It would be funny if it did
Benjamin
though.
Hornigold.
And yeah, that's I watched Pirates of the Caribbean
Mm-hmm.
recently, and
I need to
sorry
watch
watching
that
it.
again.
There's like fucking 6, 5 movies. I don't even
Yeah,
remember at this point. There's at least three. I'll
at
go in the
least.
spirit of Bell and just say there's at least three. And in one of them, Bartholomew Roberts, I think, is mentioned, and I think Blackbeard, I guess, might be
Yeah,
mentioned.
Blackbeard isn't one of them at least, I think.
I think yeah, good point. He might have been in one of them. Um, other
I
ones,
think.
you might even see in Pirates, the pirate games, Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, and that one. A lot of these dudes you can see there. If you're curious about the others, though, uh, what's I think it's called Black Sails, the TV show called Black Sails. Pretty good TV show. Not sure about the like ending of it or where it's now, but like first season is always good with these. Like so,
For a season and then they fuck up.
they fuck up usually. Yeah, most TV shows fuck up.
I haven't
But yeah,
watched much TV. I need to get back to that at some point.
oh god, that's so much time you need for that. Now that I think of
Yeah.
it, but yeah, this was the pirates. Basically, this is the tip of the the cherry on top of the cake. This last couple of years before, I guess I don't know, they just started sending in I don't know the English fleet, the French fleets, and all that stuff, and like people just got kind of pushed out of it, and they couldn't really do the same stuff anymore. So the time when they fought and lived in Nassau, the time when they fucked around Tortuga, which was a place called by a guy that decided that that place looked like fucking, like a turtle, even though everyone might have been like, guys, doesn't, man, my dude, it doesn't really look like that. He's like,
It's not a turtle.
it's okay. I get the naming rights, right? Um, Wait, have you actually seen that?
Seen what?
When they meet Blackbeard and Black Sails.
Oh no, I was replying to Space. That Blackbird is in the first and third movie of Pirates of the Caribbean.
In Black Sails, when they meet Blackbeards, in Black Sails they meet Blackbeard, and I don't even want to spoil it. It's not it's one of the few funny moments in general in TV show history. It's a genuine good moment. I won't spoil it.
Should I watch Black Sails? Is it on Netflix?
It's worth it if it's on Netflix. Absolutely watch at least a couple episodes just for the fucking how they meet Blackbeard, because it's so dumb and funny and I love it. It's probably episode 1 or 2. But yeah, it's also not for kids. Definitely don't meet Blackbeard with kids. Absolutely not with kids.
Okay.
I'm trying to remember it now, and I don't think I can. I just remember the beard. But yeah.
The beard. Okay.
But yeah, female pirates. So I'm not sure. I think I'll do this one. You're the female, but I think I'll do the female pirate.
Woman, but I'll listen to you tell me about women.
So okay, so I can do the discussion about the women. It is allowed.
To the women, Nix.
The strongest of all these female pirates when it comes to numbers is probably Cheng Isao. And I have no idea if it's Cheng the First or Cheng I as an iPhone, but that's because I'm ignorant. But the point is that this lady had hundreds of ships and about 70,000 men at her peak.
I want 70,000 men at my disposal.
And a couple hundred ships. Yeah, like go to Somalia, get some pirates under. Talk to the dudes, be like, yo, we're changing from we're not stealing oil anymore. The prices have went down. We're stealing, I don't know.
Now we're stealing bad girl water.
I
mean, all the bad water.
all the bathtubs coming in, or the bath water coming in from the bathtubs of China, and trying to do all that stuff. So yeah, so she was a former prostitute that married a powerful pirate that basically had a lot of stuff, and when he died, she just rose in power by being cool, I guess. I don't fucking know. It was her and her lover boy that went up the power ladder, and I guess she used him together because pirates and men back then didn't really like women in power in some cases, but she did a hell of a good job, I'd say, when it comes to proving that humans can do anything if they set their mind to it, especially if you can get a couple of swords, a couple of dozen ships, a couple of armed seamen. Yes, I use the term seaman because I felt I had to. She had a code of conduct as well for her pirates. Rape of female prisoners was not allowed. Smart decision, because men at sea often probably ended up needing some kind of, sweet release after the time to go onto land, has come, I guess, and probably it got all her former job colleagues a lot of new work and money, presumably. So she was kind
smart.
Had the business acumen, right? She was a good,
get the prostitution person. Ladies some extra cash.
They gotta, prostitutes gotta earn, the bread.
They need to earn the bread as well.
Yeah. When shit hit the fan and the Qing Chinese Empire, which is basically China at that point, said they needed help, the British and Portuguese forces were brought over to fight, and she said fuck it and asked to be left alive if no fighting would occur, and she would just dismantle the fleet. She'd get she'd keep all her money and all that stuff. So what ended up happening is they agreed, and she ended up just living with a lot of money, had apparently a giant gambling house in Macau, I think, but not Macau in China, Macau in Brazil, or some shit like that, which is mind-boggling. And she lived to be 69, truly, a goddess.
I mean, it's pretty smart of her.
She died at 69. Let me just point that out.
She died at 69.
She was a good memer.
Yes. But it's pretty smart of her to just say hey, what if I just dismantle my fleet and you guys leave me alone and I'll leave you guys alone and you don't need to fight me, please?
Right. Also, her name sometimes is spelled Ching Shi, or Sheikh, something like that. And she's also in the Pirates movie at one point or another, and something along those lines. And yeah, she, this is, I guess, a small message to the ladies, even though it's probably only you here right now that's part of the ladies because there's not a lot of people right now currently. But message to the ladies: if you want to impress guys, girls, don't care, don't judge. I have to say that it's a meme, but I said get good guy points if I say that. So don't lie to yourself. If you want to be a goddess or a queen, become a Chinese prostitute, gambling boss pirate.
Okay, and now I know what to do with my future.
Right, there you go. Start by exporting yourself to China. The gambling houses, Hong
Yes.
Kong, all that stuff. Probably, I don't know, Taiwan.
Yes.
But yeah, every other pirate, no matter how cool, no matter if they had a cock and balls that could help you be part of cock and ball torture, if you're into that kind of kink, or just like how the term cock and ball torture sounds, would still never be as cool as that Chinese lady. But still, the next Bonnie lass I'll mention is Anne Bonny because her name sounds like Bonnie, and I wanted to make a joke about it, but that's all I figured. Um, so she was the bastard child of a rich Irish lawyer who was born in Cork. Her dad made her dress like a boy, and she was his law clerk when she was a child. Basically, I identify as
Poor
her.
girl.
My dad also dressed me up like a boy and made me his law clerk. So,
But wait, were you born a girl?
wait, what?
What?
No.
Did you
And
have to hide your gender?
I mean, maybe I'm doing it right now. She moved to America and married a sailor in 1718, and then went to New Providence, which we discussed earlier. And there was, she dumped her husband after, just married him.
Just married
Uh,
him.
fell
Go
in
to
love with.
another city. Bye, loser.
Bye, loser. I mean, we don't really know. Like, it might be her, but it might also, I don't know. Maybe the guy just went and fucked around, and like she was like, oh well, I guess he's a piece of shit. So
Yeah.
she went and found Calico Jack Rackham, famous dude, famous pirate dude, apparently like a Playboy type character, like a combo between, I guess, fucking Jack Sparrow and what's his fucking name, Iron Man. Everything is Iron Man. If you're like,
Everything is Iron Man for you.
like yeah, I don't know. I guess
Every famous rich
I don't
guy
know
in
who else.
history was like Iron Man back then.
Yeah, right. But like, think about it. It's like, who else would you compare him with? Elon Musk. Elon's not like not that Iron Man. Like
No.
like he's compared to him sometimes. Like who else? Batman, I guess. But Batman also fights crime. I don't think Calico Jack Rackham fought crime.
Does an Iron Man fight crime?
Iron Man kind of like fights crime if he needs to. If he needs the world.
He really needs to, but else it's like, look at my shiny gadgets. Look at my
he
suit.
does that. I think he does that just so he can, save people so that he can then be rich. So he can be like, yo, I'm rich, guys. I have all the stuff that you buy all the time. But yeah, she fell in love, all that stuff. She was a too bad bitch, and she had shit to prove it with. She almost murderated, obviously, that's how you say it, a guy for trying to get it on. So you could outdrink a lot. She also could outdrink a lot of Calico Jack's crew members, and basically a girl that could drink, right? Which is not unseen.
Wow.
I have been there.
A girl can drink.
A girl can drink. Dude, I've seen some fucking insane girls out there that are like girls like shorter than me can outdrink me type shit. Only 1 in a million though. But yeah,
sure.
I mean, I don't know. Look, I don't know. Maybe you can too. I don't know. We need to test that out. I might be coming to somewhere close to Luxembourg next year for like a couple of days. I can keep dragging my Germans and Frenchies and everyone, and we can go for
everyone to Luxembourg.
Everyone go to Luxembourg. There you go. So yeah, she also knew how to use a gun.
Okay.
And she, I'd say take notes, you dear Bonnie lasses, which means good girls of the world, because if you can learn to use a 18th century pistol and how to beat up drunk guys at clubs, and you're basically an Irish pirate. Also, probably get rich because you'll need a few livers to live a lifestyle similar to her, and last I heard, liver transplant was kind of expensive. So
just get one on the black market,
That's
Piracy 2020.
Piracy 2020. There we go.
Okay, so Mary Read was born in England, and she was also a pirate lady that spent most of her youth pretending to be a boy so her poor mother could scam the grandma for money. I guess boys got money from the grandma and girls didn't.
No,
What the fuck?
I guess she maybe. I think she had like maybe she had like a son and he died and like the grandma like the son. I don't know. Maybe it's just
I
weird.
don't know.
Like
So this girl, Mary Reed, she took on a lot of guys' jobs and changed her name to Marguerite. So this is your cross-dressing transgender hero of the day. If you think it's a new thing, I can only imagine all the kinkiness that went on in there. Like she was friends with Anne Bonny because of her mutual buddy Calico Jack, and also I swear this guy's everywhere because, you know, he's a famous lady pirate. Like anywhere a famous lady pirate is mentioned, he's there. So either
yeah,
he has the biggest PP on the seven seas, or he's just had that charisma. We just got all the ladies,
all the pirates.
all the pirate ladies. And so far, it seems that lady pirates are crazy, and you shouldn't get in their way. They'll rip your testes off. Like they're sweet and innocent, and then they yank your testes away.
Can you do that? Can you do the movement again? There you
Go
go. The face attitude.
Yank your testes. One of her most famous exploits was in 1720 when she and Anne fought off pirate hunters and screwed them so hard she yelled at them and asked.
Didn't actually have sex. Like just screwed them over by like.
Screwed them up, okay. Screwed them up that hard. Maybe there was some fucking. We don't know. We don't know. Screwed them all over that hard that she yelled at them and asked if there were any men among them because they were all scared in their ship. And they stayed below deck because they were so scared of these little lady pirates.
There you go. So
she was caught. Yeah.
Shadow says you're a pirate confirmed. Is that because you rip your viewers' testes off, or is that
to
because
rip you guys' testes off?
You yell at them and you're like, "Yar, are there any men
around
here?"
Fiddly-dee. Get below deck. So Mary Reed was caught alongside Calico Jack, and she said she was pregnant, so she wouldn't be killed like everyone else. But she died not long after that, so I guess R.I.P. It didn't work that well.
Yeah, but like it's I'd say it's quite creative, being like, like, yo, everyone's dying. Like, what can I invent to get out? Jail free. Like survive card type thing, and she's like, "I'm pregnant," and they're like, "Oh, guess she's pregnant."
Because she's pregnant, can't look her up now.
I guess you had a dick in you. I don't know. What can I do?
I guess you can't look up a lady that's pregos. She can't do anything bad if she's pregos, right?
Right? Yeah, absolutely. Right. But she still died. So
yeah. Just karma, I guess.
This is not me being a typical incel who's like, "Oh my god, she spread her legs." No, it's like, being a prude is not the best thing either. But it's very funny to me how it's like back in the day, like even today, people have mentalities like this, which is like, if I don't know, I'm not gonna get into that.
If someone's pregnant, they're innocent.
Yeah, they're like
can't say anything bad to them. Yep. You have to be nice to them, no matter what they do.
Also, be nice. Because it's like, it's fucking hard to be a pregnant woman, but I'm assuming, because I've never been one.
How would you know, Nix? Obviously. Are you really secretly a girl? Is this what's going on?
I never had babies. What are you talking about?
Are you prego, Nix?
No, I'm just fat. Okay, sure? I'm just fat.
Oh my god, did you just assume I'm pregnant? I'm just fat. Did you just call me fat? Oh my god.
So yeah, like pirates are fucking crazy.
Yes.
And
Nixon's a 60-year-old woman in a fat suit.
Cookie says I have inside information. Nixon is a 60-year-old woman in a fat suit. Of course I am, Doug. I couldn't be anything else, right?
So do you glue that beer to your face every day, or?
I just there's a new thing called hormones. You just take them and you grow a beard.
Okay.
So like I can just stop taking them, beard just falls off. I'm joking. No, it's not how you do it. Please don't fucking start taking that shit. No. You'll kill yourself. Or something, I don't know. But yeah. Also question is, where did pirates get their ship? Like I thought I'd find like fucking paragraphs over paragraphs about this, but no. It's like two sentences. So the answer is easy. They mutinied. They basically were like, "Oh, we don't like the captain anymore. Fuck you, captain." And then like took him by the clothes. Yeah. We should do the mutiny captain dance. This is the new dance. There you go.
Yes.
When you want to ban someone, do the like mutiny dance. So yeah.
I'm gonna yeet you out of there.
And do a splash sound effect after that. But yeah, they basically sometimes mutinied. Sometimes they use smaller ships when like bigger ships are like either repairing, or let's say the Spanish fleets. They had a lot of fleets that would bring gold from the New World, because at some point they're like, yo, there's not enough gold in Europe. Let's just go kill other people and take their gold. And they found, the Aztecs, which is like, dude, it's crazy how the coincidence was like, Europe is kind of like lacking in gold, and they just go and find gold and people, and they kill the people and they take the gold. It's like, it's insane how much like how the Aztecs screwed themselves by being like, yo, let's just wear all this precious metals that we find all the time, and we don't really need it. Like, we have a fucking working, functioning state government that, we only sometimes use human sacrifice to keep it alive, right?
Sometimes.
We're
not crazy for doing that. We're not crazy,
right? But yeah, they would be sneaky sometimes. Sometimes they just go all in. And they couldn't really buy ships because there weren't really ports or shipwrights that were like, yo, pirates, come buy ships. Like today you could be like, oh, do you want to buy a ship? You want to buy? You want? Yeah. You
want a ship? You want a ship?
Buy a fucking ship. But yeah,
you want to see my ship and chill?
They'd also careen ships, which is involved putting a ship in a place where the tides would be low, or eventually, lower even more. And the sides of the boat would be exposed, so they could, like do repairs and stuff like that. There's, I guess, a nautical term, like nautical term, yeah, nautical term, and it was basically repair times.
Okay. That's interesting to know. Though I never stood still, like how they repaired ships back in the day.
They would literally just drag a motherfucker on, like not really drag it, but basically like they wouldn't drag it. That would break your back.
They would wait for the tides to go lower.
Yeah,
so they
could put it in a place where the tides would eventually like come leave, and they'd like be able to work in it, and then the water would come back up. It would drag their ass into the sea, and there you go.
Never thought about it.
But they also had like a few, like I say that there weren't really ports or shipwrights, but I literally mentioned how like Nassau, Tortuga, Jamaica, places that they took every now and then, right? Like had basically that. Yeah, dry dock is a thing now, but that,
Yeah, but that's like, don't they like drain the water out of where the ship is to repair shit?
One of the worst punishments is Space Shadow back then was keelhalen, which is in English I think keel hauling. It's the same thing. It's the same term, but like spelled by English, Englishy way. It's like Keel, I think, instead of I. And the word for it's technically just pulling a person at the way underneath a boat and back up. Yeah, that sounds like fucking hell. You'd probably die in like seconds or minutes.
Wait. So they put a person behind the boat and then they back the boat up?
I don't know. I guess I don't fucking know. What does keel hauling actually mean? Point. I researched this and I have no idea what this is.
Sounds painful. Does your dick get crushed?
Yeah, probably. But they did it everywhere.
I mean, throughout history, they would try to find the most painful ways to kill someone and torture someone, so wouldn't surprise me.
Yep.
It's kind of fucked up, but also, you know what else it is? This is... Wait, what space? No, what?
MySpace?
Underneath the boat. They put him, like underneath the boat and then back up, like to crush him, I'm guessing.
I don't think it's a crushing thing. I think they just basically, like, escape their fucking ass and face with the boat while being underwater, so I don't know.
Okay.
Probably something crazy. I don't know. Pirates are crazy. They're cool, but they're crazy. Everyone is crazy.
Everyone's crazy. You're crazy. You're crazy.
I'm crazy. I don't know.
No, but I was gonna say, this is the 7th episode of Mythical Bloody OwO's, and thank you all for being here.